This video is part of a series intended to show you how that you can make stacked box plots in some software called Flourish. Along the way, one of the things that I discovered was that, well, first of all, let me just show you the data. So right now what we're looking at is data that was collected using a Google form from students just like you. In fact, maybe it was from you. And this is how the data comes into the Google form, or when the Google form gets your data, this is how it's stored in a spreadsheet. This is what it looks like. For this right here, line 2 are all the different colors of M&Ms that were brought in by one person. Again, the horizontal rows in a table are considered the who. And who is the who? You. And each of these is a bag of M&Ms brought in by you and broken down into the colors that you entered and submitted and sent to me. So anyways, so that's what it is. And what we can see is these are all the different values here in this column. These are all the different numbers of red M&Ms that different people got. So some people bought bags of M&Ms and they got 7 reds, and some people got 13 or 17, and some people only got 3. Okay. Now, one of the things I was hoping that when I would show you Flourish, I was hoping we could just suck this data in or copy and paste this data. But unfortunately, when I was looking at Flourish, what I discovered, let's see here, here we go. What I discovered is that for these World Cup player box plots, the way the data is arranged, it's not like this. The way it, sorry about that. Let me go ahead and get this. The way it is arranged is in column K, these are all the X values, and then in column column I, these are all the country values. So here's a country and here's somebody's age. Here's the same country and somebody's age. Same country and somebody's age. So if you look at the ages of all the soccer players for a particular country, this is how they're arranged. And if you want to find the other countries, you have to scroll down and look through column I until you see the other countries. Okay. Now, that's a bit different than how we did it. Instead of us having the name of the country at the top and then all the ages below, they have it arranged in a different way. Now, the cool thing is that there is a pattern here, and the pattern is easy to fix by writing some code. So what we're going to do today is we're going to write a script. So it turns out when you're using Google Sheets, there is, let's see here, there it is, it's under extensions. There's this thing called Apps Script. And you can find out all about Apps Script by just Googling Google Apps Script. And then there's a whole website full of stuff. And I may be referring to this as we go. We're interested in scripting related to Google Sheets. And let's see here. So this is not the easiest place to find it. I'm going to go ahead and go Google Sheets script, and I'm going to look for get range, which is something that we'll need to know. And this will kind of this will put me right in the thick of where all the documentation is. So here's Google Apps Script, and here's the part about Sheets. These are all the different functions that I have to manipulate Google Sheets. And here's all the commands listed. And this is just help. So if I want to find out how to use a command like get range down here, I can click on it. There's several different ways to use get range. And if I click on this guy, it gives me an example that I can use in my code. All right, anyways, let's get back to this. So we're going to go in and we're going to open up the App Script editor. Now, the first thing we're going to do is something that you don't always have to do on every App Script program. By the way, this is a different programming language than what we've looked at in the past. This is not Python. It is called, and it's not R. This is called, it's something like JavaScript. It's a version of JavaScript that Google uses. And of course, it's actually called App Script. Anyways, we're going to make a function on open with 2 parentheses and then 2 curly Q brackets. And we're going to go and put in there var. We're going to make a variable called UI, and it is equal to spreadsheet app.get UI. There we go. And that variable will allow us to create a menu item that will let us run this script for any data that we have. So UI, I'm going to go and real quickly just copy and paste this data so you don't have to wait forever. Let me go ahead and do this. Here we go. So there it is. So I guess I'll leave that. I'm creating a menu called convert data. I'm adding an item to the menu called convert data, and it runs the function convert data that we are about to write. And then it adds a separator. We don't need a separator. I'm going to get rid of that. And here's a comment that explains what this does. This part is the caption, and this part is the function name. And then finally, we'll add that to the user interface, also known as UI. Okay, next, we're going to start writing the function convert data. And we need 2 parentheses, and then curly Q brackets, and then enter. And if you're following along with me, it should be automatically indenting for you appropriately. We will then make a variable, var ss equals capital spread sheet app. Oh, by the way, one of the things that's kind of cool about the editor in AppScript is that if I start typing this, it actually will do like auto completion. So spreadsheet app it recognizes that. Then .get active spreadsheet. That saves some time on the typing and makes it so that I'm less likely to type incorrectly. Now, something that's different about JavaScript and AppScript from Python is that with JavaScript, you always have to put semicolons at the end of every line. And we'll make another variable called master, and it is equal to ss.getSheetByName. And we will do, and we'll give it the name of the sheet. We want sheet 1, and that has to be in quotes, and then a semicolon for the end of the line. What is ss.getSheetByName? Well, ss is the spreadsheet we're currently working on, and by using .getSheetByName, we can say, hey, I'd like this thing called master to be equal to the data in sheet 1. Okay, next, we will create another variable called dest, or short for destination, and it will be equal to ss.getSheetByName, and we will call this sheet 3. For now, that's what it's called, but one of the reasons I'm walking you through the code is I want you to have an idea of how you could change the code. Right now, the way that I've done it is I have the data that you sent to me in sheet 1, and the place where I'd like to send the data is sheet 3. And let me go ahead and clear this out for now so that you can see the process actually works when we're done. Let's get back to the scripting. Okay, then we're going to make a row counter, because we need to go through so many rows of data that I think there was 47 people that sent their M&M data between 2 classes, and so this will walk us through that. We're going to make a loop called a for loop, and I equals 1 space semicolon I space less than or equal to 6 space semicolon space plus plus I space. Now, the spaces are not absolutely necessary. I just put them in there so that you could read everything very clearly. There should be no space between the less than and the equal, and there should be no space between these pluses or this I. Then we will go ahead and do curly Q brackets, which is just above the enter key. You have to hold shift down and then hit enter. And then we're going to make another loop because we're going to do 2 loops and one of them is going to be nested inside the other. For space j equals, this will start with j equals 2 and semicolon space j space less than or equal to space 48. So there was 47 people that submitted data, but it is all stored in rows 2 down to 48. So that's why the code says that. And why did we do 1 through 6? Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I wanted to grab 6 columns of data. I don't need the weight. And by the way, with some classes we actually measured the weight of the bags. With others we did not. So the weight was there from an older class. Okay, so let's go back to the script. Okay, so we're going to do curly Q brackets again and then enter. And now we can begin to write the code that's going to loop and repeat over and over again. And let's see here. I'm going to type this out. You'll see me looking off to the side, and that is because I have a little cheat sheet to make sure I get this right. Master.getRange parentheses 1 comma I. After the closing parentheses, I do dot copy to parentheses dest dot get range row. Oh, let me get myself out of the way here. I do not need to be right there. Get range row counter, all one word, comma 1, comma curly Q bracket contents only colon true, and finally a semicolon at the end. I can't believe that all fit on one line. Yay. Okay, so let's have a quick explanation of what some of this does. I'm going to go ahead and put a comment line in right above that line of code. Let's see here. We're going from, what we're going to do is we're going to grab the data at row 1 and column I. And column I keeps going up as we go through the for I loop. Okay, so what that does is we're going to take, here's row 1, and as I increases, we will grab the word red, and then the word green, and then blue, and then yellow, and then we will be putting those into our next sheet, and you'll see how it looks in the end. Let's see here. So the 1 in the I, let's see, get range is row then column. That's how that works. And then why row counter? Because we're going to copy from here, we're going to copy this one cell that is right here, and we're going to copy it to the destination, which is the current row counter, which is set at 1, and the let's see, and this will be the column 1. And so what we're doing is we're what we're going to do is we're going to take the this line of code gets all the color color headers from the original sheet. There we go. And then, oh, by the way, get range takes in a row and a column. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to grab a particular cell like this one, and then what we'd like to do is we'd like to paste them into this column, column 1. Let's see here. And that will be true for every time we do a header. It's always going to go in column 1. The headers are always going to go in column 1. And again, it's because that's how things worked here. The headers go here, and then the data goes here, and we're going to duplicate that kind of idea. Okay, so now we need to write the code that will grab the data that goes with the header. So we'll go master.getRange, but this time instead of getting the first row and the ith column, we're going to get the jth row and the ith column. Okay, and we will copy that to the destination spreadsheet, and in the destination spreadsheet we will go to row counter, and it'll be the second column. Row counter will be the row we're on, and then we'll go to the second column, and again, just like we did before, we're gonna copy this contents only true. In other words, we don't want to copy the formatting. So let me go ahead and copy that and paste, and then at the very end, semicolon. And so again, let's explain. So we're going to go to the jth row. So in other words, rows go from 2 to 48. And so we're going to go and grab the second row, then the third, then the fourth, all the way down to 48. And so we do that by looping and increasing j as we go. And so each j will be 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, etc. And we're grabbing the data from the ith column in the data. So first we grab data from the red, and we do that 47 times. Then we grab data from the green column, we do that 47 times. And it's just wonderful that the computer does all this work for us. Now, understanding how to write this code to make it happen in the first place, yeah, that's complicated, that takes a while, but it's still pretty cool once you figure out how to do it. It does it for you every time, and it does all the work. Okay, one last thing that's important is we have to increase the row counter, because now that we've gotten one row of data, now that we've grabbed this data, we want to go to the next row, and then the next row, and then the next row, and so we will do plus row counter. It's very important that it's spelled exactly correctly, just like it was over here. And by the way, you'll notice that as I type it, they do give me the suggestion, so I can get the spelling right. And that line also must end with a semicolon. All these lines must end with a semicolon, except for the comment line and these lines where we start with curly Q brackets. Okay, so that should be it. That should do the trick and make it so that our program runs. I'm going to go up here and save project, and then I'm going to go back to the spreadsheet. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do, if I do a refresh, I'm not sure what happens. I'm going to go over here and just see what happens. So I'm going to go, there's sheet 3, it's blank. We're at the very top of it. And let me get myself out of the way here. And over here, sheet 1. By the way, that is all the code that we had to write. So it was complicated, but there wasn't that much. Now, over here, sheet 1, there's the data. Let's go, oh, here's the menu that is generated by the code. So I told you that up here, this on open, by the way, what this runs when the spreadsheet opens, and it creates the menu. And then there's the menu name, and here's the menu item. I'm going to go ahead and click on Convert Data. Now for me, I've done this before, so it's not asking for permission, but if you write this code, it's going to ask you to give it permission before the script runs. Okay, so the script ran and it said it's done. We're going to look at sheet 3 now. And sure enough, in sheet 3, we have red and all the different numbers of M&Ms that all the different numbers of red M&Ms that people got, and then we've got all the greens, and then all the blues, and all the yellows, and all the oranges, and all the browns. Now, that saved us quite a bit of effort from having to manually move the things around ourselves. But more importantly, if we had to do this sort of thing again, if we had data that came from a Google form that looked like this, and we wanted to make it into Boxplots using Flourish or some other kind of software, the code's written. And we might have to make some modifications, but now we kind of have an understanding of what the different parts of the code are doing, and so we could make the modifications if necessary. For example, maybe we don't need 6 columns. Maybe we don't have 47 rows that start at row 2, okay? So we would just make those changes as necessary. And also, who knows? Maybe the data doesn't start out looking like this and doesn't end up looking like this. So then that would require that we go and mess with this stuff a bit. Anyways, this code, the way the data is formatted is we're going to run into it pretty commonly. This is how data looks from a Google form, and this is how different software programs require data if you want to do stacked box plots. Okay, so that is the gist of writing the code. I'm going to do a separate video because now the code video is now up to 20 minutes. So I'm going to stop this video and we're going to write I'm going to have a separate shorter video that explains how to get this data into Flourish so that we can make those stacked box plots.